How do you deal with setbacks? How do you deal with the challenges that invariably come up when you are marching towards the destination that you have in mind? Give you a little inside view. I just recorded a 10-minute plus video recording my thoughts on the subject of how do you deal with setbacks. And I'm using this new technology from loom.com. And when I started the recording, I did not realize that I had it recording my desktop. And so it was a 10-minute plus video of an Excel spreadsheet with a little picture of me in the corner. And I do not think that you wanted to watch my spreadsheet for 10 minutes. And so I had a setback in recording a video about how do you deal with setbacks. The original recording was about the setback that I've experienced recently in my running journey. I started running just a few months ago, and prior to that, I hadn't run for any consistent length of time for many, many, many years, and did not know how I was going to go from not being a runner to being a runner. And the thing that I am finding, and the reason that I keep on talking about running with regards to story and in business, is because I have found that the physical challenges that I deal with, going from not running to running, going from dealing with things like diabetes or struggling with mental health issues or whatever it may be, is that they are really good training grounds for us to face other types of challenges. That running, that develop any kind of habit, is really good exercise in being able to face other kinds of challenges. Face the challenge of, what is the work that I'm doing? Who are the people that I'm reaching? How do I go from not having a successful, viable business right now to having a successful, viable business that makes a difference in my life as well as your life and the people who I touch? And so I use running as a metaphor. And the other metaphor that I'd like to introduce today is that of the story about the little engine that could. And what I want you to think about with regards to that little engine that could is, what were the first thoughts? What was going on in the back of her mind as she was preparing to climb that massive mountain? And when I think of the mountain that she's climbing, I think of when we have driven cross country and are going through the Rocky Mountains, which are the highest point that I've ever been. And they're really kind of daunting, and it takes a long time. And I imagine that locomotives with their long train of cargo behind them, it must take a lot of work for them to get up the hill. And that little engine that came across that point where it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get to the top of that? How am I going to conquer this mountain in front of me? But as we know, the thought that was going through her head as she was climbing the mountain was, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. She conquered that inner story, that doubt, that hesitation about whether or not she'd be able to make it to the top, and said, you know what, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And so when we come across setbacks, sometimes it can be really discouraging. Sometimes when we come across setbacks, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to get to the top of the mountain. in my case, when I wasn't able to run this morning because of my ankle giving me issues, one of my immediate thoughts was, oh no, I'm not going to be able to continue to run. I'm not going to be able to continue this habit that I've been developing over the last several months of running a little bit more each day. And I realized that isn't the story that I want to be telling. That is not the direction that I want to be going. I don't want to be retreating. I want to be moving forward. But I also know that if I just said, you know what, I'm going to run anyway, that I would likely injure myself even worse than I have. That I needed to neither retreat nor forge ahead. That I needed to learn what was it that I was missing. What was the opportunity, the learning opportunity that I could gain from this setback? And so I spent some time this morning looking into what was really going on with my foot. And what I realized is that where I'm feeling the pain is along the edge of my ankle, and it goes, learned that there's a tendon, and I don't remember the name of the tendon. I know it starts with a P, but it can happen. It's actually not a very common issue with runners, but it does happen. And what I learned was I needed to exercise my ankle, develop even more balance that I have been working on, and also develop some new stretches and do some new exercises in order to strengthen my ankle so that I can move forward. So the setback gave me an opportunity to learn new things about myself, learn new things about the importance of balance, learn new things about how balance applies to running, new things about different exercises and stretches and so forth, and helped me to begin the process of developing a routine that will strengthen my ankles and help me to be able to run going forward. And when I look at other things in my life, other creative practices, whether that be writing or drawing or photography, it's oftentimes those setbacks, those frustrations when things don't work out, that I have the opportunity to look and say, you know what, why didn't that work out? Why didn't that turn out the way that I expected it to? Why was I not able to get to the top of the mountain that I had my eyes set upon? The destination that I wanted to reach. And instead of seeing that setback as being a sign of defeat or a permanent problem, seeing it as a stopping point, a resting point, an opportunity for me to learn and to grow and to discover new things about myself, to learn new things about my world, to learn new things about the processes that I am engaged in. And that's really what I want to invite you to do, is when you come across a setback in your life, what is the opportunity for you to learn? How can you continue? How can you take a step aside in order to learn the lesson that you need to learn in that moment, in that time, so that you can continue along your journey to the top of the mountain that you're climbing, so that you can continue to develop the story that you want to be able to share with the people that you care about, with your business people, with your family, with yourself. Invariably, in whatever story is being written or being shared or being told, there is always challenges that arise. To be honest, it wouldn't be much of a story if it was just, okay, I started at the bottom and I made it to the top, and that's all there was. It doesn't make for a very interesting story. But if you can share those experiences, those setbacks you've had along the way, the lessons learned, then not only are you creating a better story, but you're also helping people to follow along in your footsteps, to say, you know what, at this point, was I thinking about, stretching my ankles? Was I thinking about balance? Was I thinking about how my work applies to the people that I'm serving? And again, running is just a metaphor for the other types of work that we could be doing, the work that you are doing. Last week, I had someone commented about how I had recorded my whole video and not spent much time looking at the camera. And so this week I've done some practicing in order to be able to develop that habit a little bit better. And hopefully this week I have done a little bit better at watching the video. It was a setback, and probably a setback that I'm going to have to continue to work on developing and overcoming. But it's an opportunity for me to grow, an opportunity for me to learn as a communicator, as a storyteller, as someone who is continuing to build and develop my business. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I invite you to share your thoughts. What struggles have you had? What setbacks have you learned from? What is the lessons that you have learned? Until our stories meet again, be the bright light in someone's dark night. Ta-ta.